Hi, I'm Chuck Gibson. This is Loveland Beacon Talks. Today we're talking Hollywood, Tinseltown, big city bright lights. Except the bright lights are turned off. Yes, there is a strike in Hollywood. Members of the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, SAG and AFTRA, have joined the Writers Guild of America in a strike against the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, known as AMPTP. Of course, money is at issue, the dollars and cents of the business. But maybe deeper into the heart of the strike is two letters, AI, artificial intelligence. So, what does all this mean to you and me? First off, the strike threatens the immediate future of the fall TV season. But in the long run, it's how motion pictures and television will be changed by artificial intelligence. Today, Brett Culbert, Hollywood film and television actor and writer, joins me on LB Talks. He's a member of SAG with multiple credits for TV, film, and film shorts. He recently completed his work on Rebel Moon, a feature-length motion picture now in post-production with a scheduled December 2023 release. It is my pleasure to welcome Brett Culbert to share his insights on the current strike from Hollywood. Well, welcome Brett Culbert from Los Angeles, California, a member of the Screen Actors Guild. And I like it, Brett, when we were talking, you said storyteller. But obviously a working actor living out in Los Angeles, and right now kind of, a little bit shut down because of this Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA, the American Federation of Television and Radio Actors, and the Writers Guild of America, all on strike currently. And we wanted you to share a little bit about what that means and what's happening, what's happening for you and what's it going to mean to us.
Oh, great. Excellent question. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. We are under a huge strike here in Hollywood. A lot of my fellow actors and I myself were not currently working, and you and I briefly spoke on this. But one of the biggest important moments here is a matter of perception. Kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Chuck,
right.
Is that multiple different people have their own perception as to what's going on, whether you're a producer, a stunt performer, an actor, a writer. History is on the table, and I think it's really hard for us to come together and understand what's happening, right?
Right. Well, and when you say, I think that's a great phrase. History is on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's being negotiated. The history going forward of the entertainment industry, how it's going to be the same, how it's going to change, and the impact it's going to have on people seeking to hear and watch and read entertainment. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. But I think one of the biggest issues right now is that the performers and the artists, they don't want more. They just want enough to be able to eat and to go to work. I think that's kind of what America in general wants to do, is we want to be able to, go to work, come home, be able to eat, go to sleep, and do it all over again. That's kind of what we all want, and it's comforting to know that. But unfortunately, here in Hollywood, a lot of your actors are unable to even eat despite their shows being on television as we speak. And that is the truth. And a lot of writers aren't making enough to go and buy bread right now. And so it is history, and a lot of things have to change right now.
Well, and that's the dollars and cents piece of it, for sure. And, and I think to help, maybe people who are listening to this on Loveland Beacon Talks understand, you and as you said, you and I were chatting before we officially went on air with this Loveland Beacon Talks episode, about the perspective. We hear big numbers, I shared a story of, and I won't name a name, but I shared a story of a writer producer who at one time was making almost $4.5 million a year, but having been able to get there, visit, and see what the work was, I told her after a day visiting, you're underpaid. And I don't think people understand that perspective, because we sit here in a completely different world than what it is there in Hollywood. And as you said, you might be working on a show that's actively on the air right now and still trying to figure out how to make ends meet. That's a hard perspective for us to gain.
The reality is inflation is real, and the sacrifices that the producers, the writers, the actors have to make is unbelievable. I mean, me personally as an actor, I don't get to see my wife very often, because every single day I'm putting forth the effort necessary to be able to do a single job. And that's why residuals used to be on the table. Networks would offer residuals. Are you familiar with residuals?
Yes. But give me, for everybody, just in case, residuals are the pay when, like, for example, a produced piece is repeated.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So typically an actor, when they're cast to a network show, you get paid to be on the show, and then following that, you're sent quarterly residuals to allow you to live in that city, so you can then do it again, right?
Sure.
Because if you get paid a one-time deal, you're not able to pay rent later on in the future because of that one payment. So you have to be given residuals quarterly, so you can stay there and you can stay on that TV show or do more films. But now with the streaming platforms, we no longer see residuals. You get paid a one-time, you get paid once, and then following that, you no longer see residuals. So your actors are now having to wait for the next job, which is nothing new, except now there's not even residuals to allow us to have bread on the table. So you can go 2 or 3 months without a job, which makes it very hard to live. Yeah. Unless you're, Will Smith or Jamie Foxx, you know what I mean? It's just, and your percentage of celebrities out here is still less than 1%. So now you have 99% of your actors being unable to live here.
So wait a minute. Does that mean Brett Culbert's not part of the 1% celebrity actors?
Not even close.
Sorry, I didn't mean to rub that in, Brett.
No.
And I do still appreciate you taking the time right now to talk to us and help us understand what's happening with that strike and kind of bring it home here, because it's peripheral for most of us every day who just, we really, I think, we take the entertainment for granted. You guys are just always going to be there. We're going to turn on our televisions, our radios, or our devices that we're streaming. Because it's so many. So there's so many different avenues now to find that entertainment.
Well, absolutely. From most people's perspective, they don't have any idea what's going on in Hollywood. It's really easy to go home, after a long.
Yeah, you know what? For everybody listening, we're doing this by phone. Obviously, I just lost you, Brett. Are you still listening?
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
I got you back. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. Great. That's okay. It was breaking up just a little bit, and I don't want to lose you in the middle.
Nope.
Yeah. So we've talked a little bit, and hopefully brought some perspective. Even the people that are out there in Hollywood that we're seeing on television, again, the biggest percentage, the 90+% of you who are working, and you're not the Jamie Foxxes and the whoever's, that everybody knows, and maybe you've socked away a few $1 million and you're living okay. But everybody, it's kind of like us. You're
and exactly, and it's really beautiful because right now at Warner Brothers and in Disney, you can go right now. I can go in my car, go to the picket line, and there are hundreds of people right now picketing as we speak, which is beautiful because it's not just blue-collar workers. We are talking about celebrities are down there as we speak. So it's amazing to see people coming together. It really is. And I think you and I spoke earlier about how this is history. Because next month you may not be able to turn on your TV and see network programming. It may not happen.
Well, and that brings me to that point. Is like that's the impact for us. We've talked a little bit about the dollars and cents and the impact on the members of the Screen Actors Guild and the members of AFTRA and the members of the Writers Guild of America, which all three unions are together on this, right?
Yes, that's correct.
But it also brings together the impact for us at home when you talk about, hey, this is August, and I guess we're used to, the fall premiere, the primetime television, and even the streaming services now, fall premieres, they're in jeopardy? Is that what you're telling me? I know it's unknown. I know when we talked about that too.
I guess what I can say is what is going to be before your eyes in the future is the unknown. Before we could, pretty much rely on your December films coming out, your Christmas movies, your network coming out with new shows, that may not happen any longer. The possibility of us seeing a complete new future of television or lack thereof, it may move into a whole new generation of influencers. And that's why right now is so important, because we are determining what our future is going to hold. Do we want it to be storytelling, or do we want it to be influencers showing us their own life?
Wow, that would be a huge change. And especially,
right.
As I said, I liked it a lot that, maybe your own description of Brett Culbert, aside from, husband and, a college graduate and actor and those things, was that your own description was storyteller. So what's the position right now in terms of the negotiating table for this with the producers and what I guess we call them the administrators of Hollywood, of the entertainment industry? What's the position of SAG and AFTRA in terms of where it's going? What are you guys fighting for?
I know that the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers will be holding a meeting with the WGA soon. I don't know exactly when, but I know that was announced yesterday. Okay. So hopefully they'll come to some type of agreement so we can tell more stories. Because that's really just what writers want to do, is they want to tell stories, and the actors want to be there to help further those stories. And that's what I did tell you, is that I'm a storyteller. And most of your artists out here, they want to tell stories. They want to be a part of stories. But that future is on the line.
Well, and the collaboration, because a lot of people, myself included, it's because we always hear SAG and AFTRA, and you don't always hear in that same breath the Writers Guild of America. So sometimes it's like the writers are a separate entity, but you guys are in this together. And I think you just made a great point, Brett, about storyteller. So the writer is writing the story, but without you, in terms of the entertainment industry, without the actors, who's going to bring those words to life for us to see and to hear, and obviously if you've done the art well, for us to feel?
Well, and that's where I think it gets a little scary with what is the next topic at hand, with the reason why we're having this strike, which in my opinion, look, money is important, but money comes and goes. However, artificial...
You broke up again there too, right after money comes and goes, but artists...
Okay, money comes and goes, but the artificial intelligence wave is rising higher and higher in that ocean. And I think what's beautiful about what you said there is you said that actors make you feel. And I think the question is can artificial intelligence make you feel?
That you know what? That is the question, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think we are aware as to how rapid the technology with AI is happening right now as we speak. There are actors that you're seeing on your television that have been that are not real. Like, it's happening as we speak, and everybody's just kind of batting an eye towards it, or looking a different direction.
Okay, now you've got to bring that to light.
I know.
Actors that aren't real because of artificial intelligence. I mean, we're not seeing. Well, animation is one thing. Well,
yes.
We're not talking about animation, but artificial intelligence. As an actor, we're seeing that and we don't know it. Help me out here.
Yes. Yeah. So I can't use any examples, unfortunately, but I do know and have information that artificial intelligence is already being implemented into, right now, a lot of it is your film and some of your high dollar television shows, because it's very expensive to do, but it is doable and it is being done. And that is why we have to go on this strike, because negotiations aren't even had, contracts aren't even being had, because the technology is moving way too rapidly, like under our noses.
Wow.
And we're not in charge of making the films. That's way, way, way above our pay scale. And they're capable of implementing anything they want. And so if your imagination can come up with it, it's going to be done. So as an actor, I don't want my whole identity to be taken away from me. I mean, I think that's kind of what a lot of us actors are afraid of, is losing our own identity, what makes us us. The soul.
Right. Well, and feeling, sticking with this artificial intelligence aspect of the negotiations right now, and trying to figure out how, I think probably your actors and your writers right now are trying to figure out a way to protect their place in the industry. And I think there's, a simple place is, or a simple argument against artificial intelligence is, it is artificial intelligence, and it's only as good as the information that's fed to it. I mean, we hear that over and over.
Right.
And we agree. But the other piece of that is, as someone who has written, or attempts to write, it depends on who's reading my stuff, whether they think I've written or have just simply attempted. And you as an actor who has performed, and for folks listening right now, Brett is in a position as a member of the Screen Actors Guild. This is a reason I haven't really talked to him or stated much about what his background is and films that Brett has appeared in, or shows, or his most recent work, or work that may be completed that is scheduled to come. He's in a position as a member of the Screen Actors Guild that I guess, Brett, you're really not able to talk about something right now.
It's ironically, I had a meeting yesterday, and I am not allowed to speak on the streaming services that my films are going to go to. There's another reason why the strike, while it's beautiful, it is harmful. And so it just goes to show us that we can't put ourselves in this position too many times. We can't. We need to start getting things right, and we need to go back to thinking about people and not the dollar. Right.
Right, and that's good, and that helps bring home the point where I was headed, and I kind of got sidetracked there a little bit. No. This time it was you trying to bring me back instead of me maybe having to bring you back, Brett. But so thank you. But the people, not artificial intelligence. People, you as an actor, you've experienced things, and you have that emotion that you can conjure up maybe from your life's experiences. So when you're asked in an acting role to portray something or somebody, that's how is artificial intelligence going to do that without having felt the human feelings, that human aspect. And the same thing for writers. When they write a script and create a character, it's probably somewhere in their life experiences, that's what brings it to life for us as viewers or listeners. That's what brings it, where we can feel it.
Can I?
Yeah.
So recently, as you know, I know you know this, but my wife Catherine and I just got a puppy.
Right.
And she had to go away for 6 days, and so I was left alone with the puppy. And I've never raised a puppy before, and so I was a little scared because I want to do it right, and I want to make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah, don't kill the dog.
Yeah, don't kill the dog. Don't kill the dog. And so fear, and then slowly turned into confidence, and then slowly turned into the closest thing I could ever imagine to raising a child. Right? The closest feeling I could feel to raising a child. Today, before you and I talked, I went on I went on my morning run, and I jogged by a gentleman who was younger than myself, and he had a baby in a stroller, and he had his phone out, and he was taking pictures of his child, and I could see a different feeling in him. And I realized that what I thought was the same feeling as raising a child is nowhere near close to the exact same feeling of raising a living, breathing human being child that is from your own body. And it was right there that I realized, my goodness, I thought I was close, but not even near close to the same feeling that gentleman had with his own child. And so if you're going to tell me that an artificial actor, just because they have the understanding of an emotion, an understanding that an artificial actor is going to be able to emote a tinge of truthful emotion, I can't imagine it. I don't know how. I know without my experience in my past, I couldn't even be 1/8 of the actor that I've grown to be.
Right. And that's the point, and that's one of the things at the heart of this strike, at the heart of these negotiations, is that aspect from the artificial intelligence. We've talked about the money. Hopefully, you helped me and people listening, get a perspective, because sometimes we hear those large dollar numbers and think you guys are way overpaid, when in fact, like us, you're trying to make the ends meet and trying to, put food on the table and a roof over the head. And I know, you touched on it. You talked about the effort that goes into being an actor doesn't allow you to spend the time that you would like to with Kate, with Catherine, your wife. I still call her Kate, but that aside, I wanted to ask you, because that's a great point, and hopefully a decent segue into tell us about a day. Forget the strike for a minute. Forget all those points. Tell us about the day in the life of an actor. In this case, Brett Culbert. What do you do? I think people don't realize the work that goes into, just being prepared to get a role, to audition for a role even. So what's your day like regularly?
Well, Chuck, I really love the fact that you said being prepared, because that is one of the things that you really have to really get your system and your mind and everything prepared every single day. So a regular day for me is waking up in the morning, having coffee like everybody else. But then I have to think about my future. Yes, everybody thinks about their future, but I don't think about it as just one person. I kind of have my life broken up into 3 different people. So you have the husband, you have the entrepreneur, and then you have the artist. They all 3 have to work every single day, and they all 3 get called upon. The entrepreneur is there to make the money. The husband is there to be the protector. And then the artist is there to always continually push and expand and to think and be creative and be curious. And then every single day you have to give one of those people in your mind, and then so that means you have to sacrifice from another one. Some days I wake up and I just want to be an artist, and I want to live in Artland, and I want to create and I want to tell stories. But then I'm sacrificing my husband. Not my husband, but my husband.
I understand. I think people Catherine is female and you are male,
Catherine
just
is
for the
female,
record.
Yeah. and because I am an actor, and because I work, and I had this conversation the other day, because I work with empathy constantly, I feel guilty if I wasn't 100% there yesterday because I was focused on my artistry. I feel guilty the next day. So then I'm constantly backtracking to make sure that I was an okay husband. I was an okay businessman. I was an okay artist today. And so the sacrifices are constantly being made, and it's simply so I can stay prepared.
Right.
To make sure that tomorrow, if I'm called upon, I can be useful. Because really, all that an actor is just a person that wants to be useful.
Yeah. Well, and part of that, obviously, I know, because what struck me too is, you mentioned you were on your run.
Yeah.
So the physical activity, preparing to be an actor, not to mention just, the husband and the entrepreneur, you still have to keep up your health. But preparing for roles as an actor, there is a lot of physical demands. Am I right?
Oh, way more than I ever dreamed of. When I was a younger lad, I was all about getting into the character and the mindset of the character, and I still am. But now I'm starting to understand that on screen, we can tell stories, simply with physique and as well. So you have to match your character not only physically and mentally. So like the last film that we can't speak on, I made sure that I remained in that 150 to 155 pound range when I naturally sit at about 190.
Wow.
So I needed to be in there because I wanted to portray that character, because he's supposed to be in space for a long time, so he doesn't have a lot of musculature,
Right.
And so just those little tiny, but that's just what you see. That's not what's going on the inside. So a lot of these things you got to take care of when no one is telling. And there you go. You got to do things that no one tells you to do. So you have to create your own discipline, if that makes sense.
No, that, what, and that's the exact word, discipline.
Yeah.
And acting is an art, but it is also a discipline. Absolutely. I'm glad you said that.
I think we're all artists, and I've said this. As I walk around and I observe everybody, there are some brilliant actors out there that don't even know that they're actors. I swear. But the discipline behind it that has to come from something. So whether it be a dream or you got hurt or something creates discipline. What is it? Chaos spawn structure.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some beautiful quote that chaos breeds creativity. So you need.
We're going to look that up, so don't worry.
Yeah. It's just discipline is something that that literally took me over 35 years to really master, and it's still very hard. But like you said, I did go on my run. Was it really hard? Did I tell my wife I don't want to do it? Absolutely.
Well, I know. See, a lot of people don't know, but I'm also privy to the fact you didn't get that donut the other morning.
I didn't, but I thought about it. And that's another thing is, talking about the strike real quick, is people think that everybody in Hollywood, is everything's easy going, and but the reality is that we're all people here, and we crave donuts just like everybody else.
and sometimes you even get to eat one.
Sometimes, every now and then. Yeah, I usually have a cheat day.
Yeah, that's one of those sacrifices you were talking about, right? No donut today.
No donut today. So no donut today. Can film a movie. Donut next year after movie film. That's kind of that.
Well, Brett, listen, I'm grateful for the time, and I know we need to wrap up here. I'm really grateful for you taking the time and sharing your insights. But the last question on I don't know that you have any real insight on this. Maybe nobody does right now. But are there any thoughts as to how far off we are from a settlement with SAG and everybody. And again, so what's the organization? The Alliance of Producers, and help me out with that.
Yeah, so like I said, I know that the WGA is having the meeting soon. So unfortunately, I don't think I have any great news to bring.
Yeah.
However, I do know that as time continues, actors are not going to just start going away from the picket lines. In fact, it's ramping up more and more and more. So there's a lot of unknown. I know my meeting yesterday with my team said most likely 4 to 6 months is what we're looking at before we see any real headway and understanding. Wow. So I don't want to give any hopes up because I still don't know what the next page has to offer.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that, we're going to be directed and told what to do, as far as what the media is going to tell us to do. As far as, should you go see movies? Should you watch YouTubers? Should you go do this? And what I say to that, if you enjoy movies, please go to the box office. Please go spend money. Please allow actors and writers to know how much you care about storytelling. Because that is how we teach our youth. That is how we teach the person who may not have as much schooling. We show them. And it's up to us right now to decide what we want to show.
Well, that's a great message. Go to the shows, folks. Go watch. Go listen. And, oh, by the way, I did have one other question I forgot.
Yeah, please.
So, have you had the wonderful experience of walking the picket lines?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like I said, my wife had to go out of town, so I was left all alone with a little doggy, and so I couldn't go and do that. So then today was you and I have our conversation, and tomorrow my buddy of mine who was on another TV show that I'm not allowed to say,
right?
He and I are going to go and do the pickets tomorrow morning. So.
Well, again, thank you for taking the time today. Good luck. Be safe on the picket lines.
Pleasure.
And Brett, we will talk again. Thank you again so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
That was Brett Culbert joining us on Loveland Beacon Talks to share his personal insight into the current SAG-AFTRA strike in Hollywood. He headed out to Universal Studios in Los Angeles to join fellow actors and writers on the picket lines. He does not anticipate an end to the strike anytime soon, predicting as many as 4 months or more before the two sides might reach common ground and an agreement. Brett also placed a high value on these current negotiations, laying the foundation for the artists of television and motion pictures to unknown future horizons in the entertainment industry, and how we will see and hear the stories yet to be told. Loveland Beacon Talks looks forward to our next visit with Brett Culbert as things develop. This is Chuck Gibson saying thank you for reading and listening on Loveland Beacon. Loveland Beacon Talks is a presentation of Loveland Beacon Digital Media and Gibson Communications, LLC.